Welcome to The Shield Within. The issues discussed on the Shield Within podcast do not reflect the opinions of any specific agency. They are the views of the host and the guest. Any persons discussed may be fictional for comedic purposes only. This podcast is rated explicit and listener discretion is advised. Listening to The Shield Within may trigger repressed or suppressed memories or experiences. Please contact a mental health professional at your earliest convenience. It's time for the chaos to cease.
Time to open yourself to peace.
From the hours you've put in.
To the next shift you begin.
From the endless pursuit of release.
That finds the worst unleashed.
Transform the ugly into a win.
Get to know your shield within.
Good afternoon and welcome. Episode 4 of The Shield Within. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marc The Cop. I'm here with my esteemed co-host, Dr. David Buchanan.
Hi, Mark. How you doing, man?
Hey, we're doing great today.
Awesome.
Doing great today. I had just got done teaching for 3 days at the State Academy, teaching driving. So I'm a little beat around.
Okay.
We did pursuit termination techniques, so that kind of takes a toll on the body. I'm going to be 56 this year, so I know that's a puppy compared to you. But, yeah, it takes its toll. So
a lot of jerking of your body.
Let's say, yeah, that's putting it mildly. Yeah, well, without any other sexual innuendo, but
right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So it's a bright sunny afternoon here in Ohio.
Beautiful. Yes, it is. Beautiful.
I want to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by lessonslearnedcoaching.com. So if you find that life is getting a little too busy, overwhelming, you can reach out and you can work with Dr. David himself at lessonslearnedcoaching.com. I want to remind everybody we are on Facebook. If you go to Facebook.com/The Shield Within, I always try and keep something inspirational put up there every day and funny. Of course, our motto here on this show is we like to use healing through humor. Or you can go see us at www.theshieldwithin.com. If you want to reach out to Dr. David, just hit the coaching button and you can reach him there. Where did we leave off last time?
Well, I think we were pretty much at the exercise called Safe Place.
Yes.
That is the initial part of the protocol for EMDR.
Yeah.
And you had chosen your bedroom. And
yes. Did we talk about it? Talk about what it was?
It's let me just go over that if I wasn't clear enough last time. When EMDR starts, the first thing that in the training that I received, the first part of the process was to assist the individual in developing an idealized environment for safety. And then more or less what is called install that safe place inside the individual by using the EMDR technique to concentrate on that and kind of integrate it as a part of a tool for you.
Well, to bring everyone up to speed, if you missed episode 3, if you're jumping in right here, what is EMDR? What does that stand for?
Eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing.
And the whole process deals with?
Resolution of trauma of any type, and really, in a broader sense, unsticking patterns of behavior that are stuck. So it's been around for about 40, 45 years. Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of association with the International Red Cross, and it's been used in a lot of war situations for groups of refugees and that kind of thing.
Oh, yes.
And I was, I got my training in 00 and 01 and immediately put it to work and spent next 15 years doing a lot of EMDR.
And what a great thing it is.
It is indeed a wonderful, wonderful technique. In order to get the training as a student, as a person who wants to learn it, so I call them up and I say, I want to sign up for this training in Cincinnati. And they said, well, then here's what it's going to cost you, and here's my card number and all that stuff. And then it was, well, what are you going to work on? And I said, well, I've got this case that I think I talked a little bit about briefly before, a woman who had been sexually victimized, and I just was not adequate to the task. I really wanted to serve her more at a more higher level. And she said, no. That's not what we're talking about.
What do you want it for?
Been at work for?
And you're like, me?
Me? I said, well, I do have a phobia. And she said, that's fine. That'll work perfectly.
Cool.
So you have to take your own work with you.
Okay.
To use in the exercises that they have you put you through. One of the things you learn to do early on in doing a technique and using it for others is a safe place. And it's an incredibly useful tool. I had so many folks, a lot of women who were sexual victimization survivors who...
that just amazes me. I shouldn't say maybe I'm naive. And that's probably what it is. Being raised here in this rural farm community, being raised Catholic with two parents that kind of shield you away from that. The sexual abuse of women is unbelievable because men are horrible. Men are pigs. And I know that because I'm a man and I'm a pig. But
it's an amazingly universal experience for a woman in our culture. I have just, I concluded after the end of my career, basically, that if a woman was calling and wanting some services, it was because something had happened. And we might talk about, what my trouble with my boss or my kids driving me crazy or what do I do with my whatever. But eventually we get down to, this thing happened to me a long time ago. And I've been carrying it around for a long time, and I can't tolerate it anymore.
Do you find that women will open up to you easier, being that you're an older male, or do you find that, or is it up to the individual? Where I'm going at with this is, do you find that most women will work better with women therapists?
I always kind of suspected that, and I'm guessing there might be kind of a general, like if statistics were gathered, maybe they have been for this kind of thing, but I would think at least some of the time, there are going to be some women who are absolutely more comfortable seeing a woman therapist.
Right.
Absolutely. Especially when it comes to traumatic material.
Right.
And especially when the person who was victimizing them was a man. But I think also...
That would make sense, yes.
Yeah, but I think also what happens is, I think there's an awful lot of women who don't want that to get in the way of the way they relate to men and look at men. Mm-hmm. They know that was one man who did that, or a group of men, whatever. But it's not, They had a good dad, or they had a great brother. They've had enough experiences with a man that were positive experiences that it's like, I don't want to lose that part of my life. And so if I can relate to this guy and tell him this material that I've been hiding away for a long time, then something greater maybe can happen out of that.
Well, I think this would be a good place to remind our listeners that, therapy should always be a one-way street, and find a therapist that you're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Because, you and I clearly had a great rapport when we worked together.
Instantly.
And it was like an instant energy, but I've also been, and you're not the only therapist I've ever seen.
Right.
There was probably 4 prior to you that I didn't have a good experience with. And it was just like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
You're annoying me. And, so I just didn't go back. I didn't have the tool set or the skill set to say, this just isn't working. We just don't have good energy, and go find someone else or ask for someone else in the office. And I think that everyone that's in your professional level understands that, hey, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like you're an attorney where you kind of, I need the money.
Yeah.
No, it's in therapy. You don't make a lot of money doing therapy, do you?
No.
You're not going to get rich doing this, correct?
Wealth is not the goal.
Yeah. Health, not wealth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you have to love, because I remember you telling me experiences that you had was back in the day and were, quote, kicking ass and doing great things. Mm-hmm. And that means you're getting people over the hurdles and into a better frame of life. So, I'm sorry, we kind of jumped down a rabbit hole there. So EMDR.
Yeah. The safe place was something that I really enjoyed doing with people. And I remember, I know we mentioned this before, but I'm going to kind of expand on it a little bit here. Doing it with you was particularly impactful. Watching it hit you was just like, wow. I mean, it's like as it integrated into you, your shoulders slumped, it just looked like it was needed.
Oh, yeah.
And it made sense, the place you chose, and then I don't know if you remember this, but like you ended up using it.
Okay, elaborate. No, I don't remember.
This was in between the safe place session and the first EMDR treatment session.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the sequence is right, that there was a NASCAR thing where you were strapped into a car.
Oh, yes. It's right there behind you. See that photo?
Yes.
Yes, my NASCAR experience. Yes, I had, yes. I had my first panic attack.
And you got your ass out of the car.
I did.
And you did safe place.
I freaked the fuck out. Okay, so we went down to Charlotte. There was an event down there called Police Fleet Expo, and I did Richard Petty driving experience. It was hot as fuck out that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was first in line, got suited up, got my helmet on, it's full face helmet, got strapped in this car, and the car's hot as fuck. And we got in there, and I'm strapped the fuck in.
Mm-hmm.
5-point harness, blah, 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 blah. And I lost my fucking shit. I could not. The panic just overwhelmed me. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I got to get the fuck out of this car. I got to get the fuck out of this car. And if he would have gotten moving quicker, because they're like, oh, no, wait. I'm like, we got to go. We got to move. I mean, I got to get some air over me. I am overheating. I got fucking sweat running in my eye, and I'm feeling panicked right now.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reliving it a little bit. So I'm like, fuck this. Bam! And of course, they give me the emergencies. I got out of that fucking car.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, give me a minute. And I walked off to a spot by myself. I took the helmet off, and I had to refocus and I had to recenter.
Mm-hmm.
And I got back there to safe place. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, fuck, okay, calm down, breathe. Okay, we got this. I just got back in line. Instead of being the first guy up like I wanted to be, I was number 8.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the first driver, and he's like, you all right? You good? And I said, yeah. We just need to move the car a little sooner. I said, I can't sit here and sweat like this. I said, I'm claustrophobic, I guess. And he's like, okay, no problem. So, well, and had a good experience, right after that.
Right.
But I didn't know what was happening to me.
Right.
And I think I called you from down there, didn't I?
You may have.
I think I called you, and I'm like, this is happening. You're like, yeah, you had a panic attack. Yeah. How'd it go? And I remember us talking about it, whether it was soon after that or not, and I talked about what happened and how to get there and how to utilize that tool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you used it just instantaneously. Like it just came to you to use it. And that's the whole idea for the whole safe place, is to have the tool that's kind of like, you don't really think you have it. It's there when you need it.
Right.
And then there was another time you used it. Do you remember this?
I've suppressed a lot. Walk me back down the trauma memory lane there, David.
This was fun.
Also, I'm glad you were having a good time.
I know. Panic attacks are not fun.
Oh, they
but
suck.
Safe place is.
They suck, dude.
Getting out of them is good.
Right.
But this was a test environment.
Oh, yes. When I got my SFST certification.
Yeah.
Sure did. My best friend was teaching the class, and he was staying with me for the week. And he didn't give me anything. He gave me nothing but study material. He says, you need to fucking study. You need to look over this shit. Mm-hmm. You need to know this. And he's a highly intelligent guy. He loved the guy to death. But to him, it was like second knowledge. But what I didn't realize is that the posters that he had up all around the room were the answers to the test. They were up all week. All you had to do was just take pictures of the posters.
Oh, my.
And all the answers to the test were right there. But he takes the posters down right before the test.
Gotcha.
So, they were there the whole week. I mean, they're subconsciously laying there. But I'm like, oh, my God. And I have horrible test anxiety anyway. Horrible test anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I drew a fucking blank, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fail this fucking test, and I'm going to disappoint my friend. Mm-hmm. You better get the fucking hold of yourself, son. Mm-hmm. And that's where I begin realizing that shit's coming unglued. I've never had a panic attack before. Yeah. I've never had test anxiety. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Something is horribly wrong.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I got back to safe place. I remember putting my fingertips together, putting my elbows on the desk, and I did 4 square or tactical breathing. 4 seconds in, hold it for 4 seconds, push it out, hold it out. And I probably did 8 rounds of that. And the kid sitting next to me is looking at me like, are you going to take this fucking test, dude? What are you doing? It's like I'm like, which basically is what I was doing. I had to recenter myself.
Right.
I had to refocus myself and get my head back. And then, once I did that, I looked at it and I went, oh, that's this. Oh, and the answers just started popping through. And passed the test, no problem at all. Mike's like, what'd you think? And he's like, what was going on with you over there? And I said, I had a fucking panic attack. And he's like, you're fucking dicks out. You really got a panic attack? And I said, no, seriously, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have that skill set
right
sitting there, and that taught me something for students that I teach, when they get into that scenario, it's like, look, dude, this is simple. We're going to get you through this. I'm giving you all the answers, and that's what I hate about some tests, like the ones for the paramedic side of the world or the EMS side. You get 5 answers. 2 of them are right. One answer is just more right than the other one.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So I had to take my EMR first responder test 3 times. And thank God it's the same questions over and over. So, first time, failed by I missed 1 or 2. I'm like, well, fuck me. Second time, I changed a couple of answers that I knew was right, looking for the more right of the 2.
Right.
Bombed that motherfucker hard. I mean, it was like a 60. Had to have a 75 to pass, and I fucking smoked it. And I'm like, God damn. Third time around, because see, you can only get 3 times. After you fail the third time, you got to go through the whole course again.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck it. It just relax, don't overthink it. Read each question. Read the question. Read it twice. Read each answer twice.
Yeah.
So passed on third time with an 85. I'm like, okay,
you're
cool.
good. You're good. Yeah. I love those stories. They demonstrate to me the practical nature of what goes on in counseling. You're using tools, and you add tools that you can then use when you need them. And you don't have to think about, well, here's my tools for anxiety that I have in my pocket today. No. You just have them in there, and when you need them, they're available to you. Now then, after the safe place is installed and used, and Mark did a great job of using it, we did the first EMDR treatment session.
Yeah.
And as it so
huge,
happened, it was a very dramatic day. When I used to do this, all the time with folks, I always planned 2 hours for a treatment session. And and as is so often the case, we started by focusing on the impact your mother's death had on you.
Yes.
And as we focused on that, doing the tapping, it was like just this whole series of changes came over your face. There was every emotion in the book was there. Your breathing sped up, your breathing slowed down. Your body, there was tension. It would almost ripple through your body, and then it would go away. It was like a zillion things were being refiled in your brain.
Oh yeah.
In a very short period of time.
So let's set this up a little better. So what EMDR does is, and correct me if I'm wrong by setting this up, we go through a series of steps that put you in a post-hypnotic state, and through either light stimulus, back and forth, left and right, or tapping. I was in a chair. David had this wonderfully comfortable chair in his office. I was sitting there with my palms up on the ends of my knees. And of course, David's got this great voice anyway, and he's tapping left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And that's it. And you get into the post-hypnotic state. And there, from that point, go ahead.
Memories open up.
Oh, God, yes.
And the brain has this automatic, it's what happens in dreaming, essentially, this automatic way of refiling that material. It hides it away from you so it doesn't, as much as possible, the brain protects the individual from the material and the impact of it. But when it's opened up in this fashion, it's like, okay, I know what to do with that. And it files it away, puts it where it belongs, and it's still there, obviously, it happened. but it doesn't get in the way anymore. And you'd really have to think about wanting to find it before you could go find it.
Yeah, to find that pain. With me, I called my box of trauma the Pandora's box, because once that fucking thing opened up, just all kinds of ugly come rolling out, man.
Yeah.
And I was able to, well, I shouldn't say able. I stuffed everything in that box and I slammed the lid down to where no one can see it. But after my box got full, the fucking lid started coming off, and it come off in really unopportune moments. And that's what made me realize. And David kept saying, "Okay, are you ready to do this yet?" I'm like, "Nah." In your analogy, what you just step up to the threshold of the door, you look around inside, and you step back. And the reason why I did that is because I was scared.
Right.
I was scared what was in my own head.
Yeah.
Because I was able to. Well, number one, at that time, I was unemotional. I never cried. I was just. I mean, I consider myself a funny guy. If you listen to the other show, the Itless podcast, Marc The Cop on there is quite humorous. I mean,
yes, I think that's well put.
I'm pretty funny.
But
normally that's the way I try and live my life as a happy-go-lucky dude. And at this point in my life, things were very dark, and I wasn't that happy guy anymore. And I realizing something was horribly wrong when I'm ready to use suicide as an option to eliminate the pain. Yeah, something's wrong here, gang. So, we went through, 18 months before I finally did it?
Almost 18 months.
Okay. So for those of you out there thinking, I'm going to go to 4 therapy sessions and they're going to totally unfuck 20 years of my life, you are fooling yourself.
That's right.
That you aren't even scratching the surface. So 18 months in, we finally get everything set up. We're in the session.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We work through mom, and all this other stuff starts to happen. So at the end of one set of tapping, I said, "What you got?" And you were just like, "Oh my, I had forgotten so many things. I just saw a flash in front of my eyes." And I was like, "Any of them stuck?" And he said, "Louis."
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay.
Louis Dietz.
You don't need to tell me anything more than that. You just sit there and concentrate on the stuff that's stuck about Louis. And we went back in and we did more tapping. And when we got done, "What you got?" And it was just like, God, I have been waiting to put that away since the moment it happened.
Yeah, what a horrible day.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely horrible day.
Yeah. And the part in between mom and Louis was, for me, watching the process happen. It just, you've used a phrase I like a lot, accumulative trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of the folks we're talking to, firemen, ER nurses, etc., there's so much shit that happens.
Yes.
And it happens daily, weekly, monthly. It piles up. And there's so much of it that when the door is opened, a flood of things happen.
Oh, yes. It literally is the dam breaking.
Yes.
It all comes rushing forward. So for the people listening, I want to go there with mom real quick. My mother died at the age of 60. She was diagnosed with bone cancer and was dead in about 8 months. The day that she passed, it was one of these issues where your higher power, I'm going to say God put me there. God needed me there. For some reason, my father left, and which I've always harbored a little bit of resentment for him for this, and I still do to this day, and I'm sorry for that, Dad, if you're listening. But he left, and my mother was literally on her deathbed, and I realized that real quick. So not to get deep into that story, because I think it's a good story for another day, but we're going to concentrate on EMDR. But long story short, I called my brothers. You need to get here if you want to see your mother alive. She passed. My brothers were all there. Her sister was there. Our priest was there. We did all the last rites together, which is what my mother wanted all of her boys to pray together, because we are Catholic. Father Jim Doole was there. What a great guy. And, she took her last breath. And I was holding her hand. And when she was done, we all told her it's okay to go, Mom.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to hang on. She willed herself to live through Christmas, and this was on New Year's Eve, 2001, going into the 2002 year. And, she took her last breath. I reached over, I closed her eyes. Mm-hmm. And to my oldest brother, that was just, he's like, holy fucking shit. Mm-hmm. How the hell can you do that, Mark? You must be this fucking freak superhuman guy to be able to do that. And then, of course, she was a hospice patient, so we didn't have the medic traipsing through and blah, blah, blah. So, we're friends with our local funeral director, Ada Fraley. God love you. She came over, backed the hearse up to the front door, and she brought in the cart. And I'm like, hey, she want to help me? I said, sure. Yeah. I helped Ada put Mom in the bag. The body bag. Yeah. We loaded her up in the car and she sent her home. And to me at the time, it was just another day because I was so shut down at that point. Yeah. It didn't bother me that day. With me and my trauma, it's 2-3 months later when we start hitting the fucking wall. Very good. So beyond that, I got a call of a possible gunshot victim. I'm thinking, oh, okay. I was over at Brian Gray's office, mm-hmm. which was within the city where I worked. And Brian's like, well, that sounds fun. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, all right, dude, I'll see you later. We're going to drink beer later. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, no big deal. It was like noon, 1 o'clock, and it's right after lunchtime. I was trying to get him to go to eat. I remember it was cold out. It was kind of like February, when the snow's starting to melt. And I go up to this address in the city where I worked, and it's in one of our more probably $250,000 to $500,000 homes in this area. And this is a very large house on a cul-de-sac. I mean, it's like perfect for the city I live in. And I didn't realize, I saw the garage door was up, and there was something sitting in a chair, and there was this like it wasn't a V. It was more like kind of like a big long oval. Kind of like if you took a surfboard, mm-hmm. kind of like that shape of a surfboard. Okay. It was wider at the chair and it narrowed out as we went. I didn't know what it was. It looked like a car had been leaking transmission fluid. Transmission fluid's red. Uh-huh. Right. I walked through it, didn't think anything about it. Front door was open 3 or 4 inches, and I walked in, and this woman is just wailing, sobbing. Oh my God, I can't believe you did this. Oh my God. She just kept saying over and over. Well, what he did was, when she showed up at his home, she came in from Pittsburgh. When the cab rolled up, he took a .44 Magnum revolver, put it right between his eyes, and pulled the fucking trigger. Took the whole fucking top of his head off. Literally, just like how flat my cup is right there from the ears up. Yeah. The cranium was gone. Yeah. But in the way the face looked, if you would take a knife right here between your eyes and slice straight up, the whole head just came apart right there and slumped down. My God. And I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. I had no idea. So I remember telling my dispatcher I need A, B, C, and D, and I'm not answering. This woman just comes up and just hugs me, puts her head on my shoulder, and she's just sobbing just as hard as she can. I can't believe he did this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, did what? She said, he did it in front of me. And I'm like, oh my God. So, I'm not at the time. I mean, I'm feeling all this sadness from her. And that I'm just like, and my dispatcher is just being a fucking cunt. I'm like, and I just keep my mic up and I let her listen to this woman wail. I said, just get me what I need. I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Clear. She got it then. That day was a shitty day. And it was tough for me to get past that. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Really tough for me to get past that. Yeah. Because, just the whole day. And it flipped my apple cart over the first time. Right.
And by the time we did treatment, it was after 18 months of preparation. Mm-hmm. 18 months of really wonderful, spontaneous tool building on your part and my contribution. Oh, yeah. You were in a strong place when you made the decision, today's the day, now's the time, let's do this. And in that strengthening process, you got ready to face the whole range of shit that had happened to you for a long ass time. Yeah. And the way that it works with the EMDR, even though there's a lot of that in there, and it kind of all comes out at the same time, it doesn't like make you crazy, It doesn't make you stand up and start screaming and running into the night. I mean, come on. It's just
that's the shit that got you there.
That's the shit that
that's
got
what you
you
do
there.
from the shit that got you there. Yeah,
you're running into the office, not out.
Right.
So it's a way of the brain giving the brain the opportunity to do what it wanted to do in the first place when those events happened.
Right.
Put those away in a place in your mind, your spirit, your heart gets healed in the process by not having that set of material so in front of you all the time.
Yeah.
And watching that happen in front of me on your face, like, my God, this man has needed this relief forever.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was overwhelming at that point in the game. That was 8 years into the career. And remember, I was separated at the time. I wasn't with my family.
That's right.
That time, and it was the first, of this is I'm now her and I haven't been together now for 3 years. But this was the first time her and I were apart. No, first time was in 2001. When I was seeing you was the second time we were apart.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so there was no base of support, no base of intimacy for you to go fall on. There was no soft place to land.
No.
And that's such a common concern with the folks we are talking to.
Right.
You've, like Mark has talked before in previous episodes, you tend to withdraw into yourself. You don't share. The people around you don't know what you're going through at all. They just know that you're like really far away.
Or you just fucking get over it.
Yes.
It's like I just had a bad day. I'm going to go to sleep and I'll feel good tomorrow. No, it isn't that way.
No. It doesn't work that way.
I really wish it did.
That's right,
Those
man.
days are long fucking gone, man.
That's right.
You go to bed in the dark and you wake up in the dark and all you want is light.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bright sunny day out and it's 72 degrees. It's fucking gorgeous out, but you're not living your life that way.
That's right. The present tense is gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, after that long session, it was probably an hour and a half. I know you were exhausted. Most people usually are.
Oh, my God.
And you looked it. You looked wasted, but you looked 10 years younger.
I'm so wasted, man. Yeah, you did. You're like, dude, you've lost 10 years.
Yeah, it was just instantaneous.
Yeah.
Just your whole facial structure muscularly was just so different instantly as it happened. And you kept it with you as you walked out of the office down the stairs. It was like, far out, man.
Yeah, I'm like, I got to go, dude. You're like, what do you got? And I remember repressed memory that I'd put away of some really shocking things that happened during that death investigation of Louis. There was a victim witness advocate that was new that's like, oh, no, I got to see this. And I'm like, you don't want to see this, dude. You don't want this is shit that sends you screaming into the night. What people do to themselves, don't do that. You don't want to see this. Just go to the next one.
Yeah.
And I remember her walking out into the garage where he was and just letting out this fucking shriek. And she came back in and she was white as a sheet. And I said, I told you didn't want to see that. Leave that on me.
Yeah, that's right.
I had a woman pass and her grandson wanted to go see her. It's my mama. I want to go see her. You don't want to see her like this, bro. And I pointed at a picture of her where she's smiling with the kids. It's kind of like a little family picture. I said, that's your mama.
Yeah.
What's in that room looks nothing like this. Now, I'm going to let you go in there and see her if you want. But what I'm asking you, why don't you leave that on me? You remember this person.
Yeah. Because
I'm telling you, once you walk in that room, you'll never unsee it. Just sit there with me for 5 minutes and think about it before you walk into that bedroom. Because what happened in the night, she'd fallen and passed. And, the blood goes she was face down and the blood goes to the lowest part of the body. Her whole face was like a big bruise and pushed in on one side.
Yeah.
She wasn't even recognizable to the picture I saw.
Right.
But, and a lot of people see people are fine. Well, somebody beat the hell out. No, that's just,
It's what the body does.
Yeah, it's just what the body does. And God love our morticians that take something like that and fix it. It's like, wow, that's some really cool stuff. But just many examples of the hundreds of dead bodies that I dealt with over a 30-year career.
Exactly.
car crash dead bodies, natural death dead bodies, suicide dead bodies. The suicides are kind of the worst. They're just the worst, because seeing them and then thinking of that as an option and how bad the family hurts afterwards.
That's tragic.
It is. It really is.
Everybody I worked with, especially EMS people, fire too, had a particular type of trauma that just persisted and like it got them at a deeper level. I remember a really fine EMS that I had along the way who was working in a car that was burning and had an infant inside.
Oh, man.
And getting into the car was just proving to be impossible. And this guy was like trying from underneath the car to try and find some way up into the car to get this infant.
Was it a rollover?
And there were people around him trying to get through the doors and the windows, and
they were probably hindering his
exactly.
Yeah, get the fuck out of the way. Let me do my shit here.
And the infant ended up passing.
Oh.
And it was like, that happened to me more than, I just saw so many people with like, when the tragedy, however it was, involved a child, it just stuck with them,
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it just hurts at a deeper level, in a different flavor.
Absolutely.
And so I think for you,
because you think about your own kids.
Yes. And I know for example, there's a fireman who has a particular difficulty with drowning.
Yeah,
and those clients, those victims, and what happens, and the families there. For you, maybe dead bodies has become the thing that just kind of centralized all of what you were doing and how much death there is.
Oh, there's shit tons of it.
Oh my God, and it never goes away, and it never feels any differently.
Some officers, we just went through a really bad heroin epidemic. And Dayton, Ohio here is kind of the heroin highway because I-75 north and south crosses I-70 east and west. So just a good, easy redistribution centers right here in Dayton, Ohio. Unfortunately, in the city where I live in, we were hit hard with it as well. And, just these poor fuckers just got addicted to this shit.
Yeah.
And I would tell them, man, get off this stuff, because I'm the one that's got to tell your mother.
Yeah.
Every one of them I had to talk with.
Yeah. It's just...
and I walk in and talk to him. I'm talking to him. My crew's like, what are you doing, Sarge? I'm talking to him. He's dead.
Yeah.
No, he's still here.
Yeah.
Dude, why didn't you?
Yeah.
And of course, mom is, they're generally at this point in life, they found themselves living with their elderly parents again.
Right.
They're one guy was living in this little 2-bedroom apartment, and his parents didn't have any money. I mean, they were just scraping by, and he's living back in this basic glorified closet. There he was. I'm like, dude, man, come on. Look at your mother in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, got down a rabbit hole. So
no, I think the point is, with all those stories, that there's just so many of them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
And so I'm thinking, like, if I'm a 30-year-old fireman and I've seen more than I can begin to tell you, and I'm thinking, you're going to have me go into counseling with all the shit in my head for 30 years? Yeah, fuck you. And I'm like, but, dude, we can get it all taken care of. Every last bit of it.
I know. I remember one of the first things you told me. When you're ready to fix this, it's really easy. Yeah. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. You just got to be ready to do it. You're not in enough pain yet, you told me. I'm like, fuck you. I didn't say that. I thought it. Who is this fucking guy?
Yeah.
But, when you're ready to fix it, you get in enough pain, come see me.
Yeah.
We'll fix it. It's really easy. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But he's absolutely right, to the people out there listening. If you get a good therapist, one that knows what they're doing, that generally cares about their clients, they'll take the time with you. It's not about the money. It really isn't. You have to decide what's more important. I got a good friend that chose to be a pilot. He's horribly ill. He can't get mental health treatment because it will void his. As I understand it, he can't get his pilot's license.
Oh my!
He will. They will fail him. As I don't know if that's true or not. So if anybody knows, shoot me a message. That if he's taking any kind of antidepressant or if it's in a record or whatever else, that he's seeking mental, help.
Right.
And this guy is just twisting in the wind. He's miserable.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a fucking job, dude.
There are other things you
Go do
can
something else, man.
Yeah.
Would you rather be, piloting this aircraft and then go home that night and blow your fucking brains out because you won't get help? Or does this job really that great to you? My medical doctor asked me that after one of my last physicals. She looked at me. She's like, "Is your job this fucking great?" Yeah, I love my job. Why? Because it's fucking killing you. What do you mean? Well, let's take a look at your 5-year glimpse here. And everything was 5 years ago was great. Everything now, fucked. So physical and mental. And I was looking at myself because I did 9 years on Midnights, and I was looking at myself just 5 years ago. I'm like, who's that guy? Dark hair, no wrinkles. Today, I'm like, who's this old fat dude with, balding and gray? And I didn't realize that in 5 years of working Midnights, what a toll that took on me.
Yes.
I mean, and it's aged me horribly.
Right. And it all adds up.
Oh, it sure does.
All adds up.
Did we hit our goals on the EMDR?
I think so. I'm not sure what minute we're at, but I was like, for me, I know where I want to go next if we have enough minutes left.
We're at 40 minutes, so
40?
We got 20 if we want to take them up to an hour. It's up to you.
Well, let's start into this and maybe chew into it more next week, too.
Okay.
Next episode.
All right.
You have a saying that I'm very dear to my heart that I've repeated to some other people along the way.
I'm scared.
There's life before EMDR and there's life after EMDR.
Yes. Fuck yes.
It's a powerful thing to...
More?
I'm good. Thank you.
We're drinking coffee now.
Yeah,
here.
Absolutely.
On the IT list, we drink liquor. Now on the Shield Within, we sit here and drink coffee. We're the mellow side on this show, right?
Somehow it makes sense.
Right.
But I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, like, after the treatment and you slept forever.
Oh, God. Well, okay, sure, absolutely. I would love to share this story. You told me you might want to have someone come get you. You probably should have someone drop you off and then come back and pick you up. And I'm like, fuck you, I'm driving. And to put it in perspective, at the time I was living in Covington, Ohio, and it was a 20-minute drive to Sydney. So I'm like, I'll be fine. And goddamn, he's right. So for those of you out there that want to do a little EMDR, have somebody come pick you up. It was, I swear to God, it was like I took a Tylenol PM and a shot of NyQuil on the way home. It was, I was literally, I'm like forcing my eyes open. It's like working midnight shift and not sleeping for a day and a half prior to, just to where you're just so fucking tired. You have to force yourself to stay awake. And it was the most miserable 20 minutes of my fucking life. I walked in the house. Susan looked at me. She said, how'd it go? I said, great. I went straight up to my room. I blacked the windows out and I went to sleep. And she comes up after about an hour and she's like, are you okay? And I'm just like, and I couldn't form words. And I said, I just need to sleep. And she's like, but you're okay, right? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'll tell you about it when I get up. 10 hours later, I'm still sleeping. And just put it in perspective, I'm lucky to get 6 hours worth of sleep now. Okay? Still dealing with the trauma. Still dreaming cop. Right. It's been almost a year since I've retired. You know, it's like the old Charlie Daniels song, I'm still in Saigon. So it's tough right now.
Yes.
You know, and afterwards, after I woke up, I went downstairs and I made some coffee because it was, at this time, it was morning again.
Right.
Our sessions were at 1 or 2 o'clock.
Right.
Okay. So I went home and went to bed at like 2 o'clock a session, 4:30 I went to bed.
Yeah.
I didn't get back up the next day till like 8 o'clock. I mean, obviously Susan came to bed. I don't remember her coming to bed. And when I woke up, I'm like, fuck. She's like, are you okay? I've never, ever known you to sleep this long. And I felt like, still felt groggy. And again, no drugs, boys and girls. This was just EMDR. Right. This was just flushing of the toilet. This was, like David says, refiling everything.
Yes.
And I went downstairs and I made coffee and I thought, God damn, that's good. Man, this has just got. I said, did we do something different? She's like, I don't make your fucking coffee. And I'm like, well, true. So, I went outside and, wow, just the sun looked so much better that morning. The sun was brighter. The air was sweeter.
Yeah.
Again, this was, we did this in the summer.
Right, we did.
And I remember sitting out on the porch just thinking, God damn, it's a nice day. Why haven't I noticed this magnolia tree in my front yard? Smelling the magnolia tree. And I just never noticed that before. And, and so we made lunch and just the food tastes better and the coffee was richer. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Your senses through trauma are so dull.
Very good.
That you don't realize that once you get to the other side of it and you get that shit put away, life is better. And I started laughing again. And as we continued our work, I remembered, I don't know, watching, and right now I'm kind of a pussy when it comes to some movies because I cry again now.
Right.
And my full-time therapist now, his name's Jerry Kanapkin. We hope to have Jerry on the show. Be so excited to get you two in the same room. I mean, Jerry's got a great saying about crying. He said, and people try to suppress crying.
Right.
I don't want to cry or I don't want to sneeze. He's like, well, you don't suppress an orgasm. Why would you suppress a cry? I'm like, good point. So, going through that gamut of actually feeling again.
Yes.
It's weird.
Yes.
Weird meaning, oh, I'm sad again. Oh, I can be happy again instead of being that drone. Because you feel like just that worker bee. You don't. Amazing. A man of a lot of words is losing words. You just don't realize how dull things have become.
Life gets very narrow. The range of things you're interested in.
It gets really gray. Yes. It gets very generic. You're just going through the fucking motions. Yes. There was no joy.
Right.
I didn't do anything that made me happy.
Right.
I just went to fucking work.
Yeah.
I came home and went to bed. I would occasionally go drink my fucking face off and drink way too much with Brian Gray or whoever else. Just saying that because I like Brian so much. And then right back in the same shit.
Right.
But after EMDR, life was so much better, and I was able finally to be able to fix some things in my personal life.
Exactly. And what I want to do in the next episode is delve into that a bit more specifically. I know it had an impact on your faith.
Oh, yes.
I know it had an impact on your whole sense of self, like that card analogy of flipping the cards and they go all
oh yeah, take a deck of cards.
And somehow I know when you see Molly this happens, and I think after EMDR it happened also that you were able to gather those cards together and things started to make sense again.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really interested because I don't remember us talking a lot about it, but the more I kept thinking about it was like I'd love to talk about how work felt to you differently.
Okay.
After EMDR.
Okay.
And then like some of the problem solving you just talked about.
Right.
What did you attack? How did you attack it? What made that process of decision making, problem solving, prioritizing? How did EMDR have an impact on all that?
Okay. Yeah,
so
we can do that.
Cool. Very good.
Our time has ended.
Good job, bro.
Oh no.
Thank you.
Good job for you. Thanks for fuck you for taking me down memory lane again. That's some deep shit.
Yeah. We revisited and the path that you went through, like the lady said to me, if Mark can crawl out of that hole, I can crawl out of my hole.
Good stuff, man.
And that's what you did.
Yeah. Do you got your outro ready?
I sure do. Somewhere in here.
Come on, man, get your shit together.
I know.
This is professional podcasting at its best here. Should have told you that before we started the show, right?
Yes.
That's all right. Well, sure, there it is.
Right.
Here we go.
May your days and nights find you strong and safe. May you take your place as your family's face. As you do the shit that we won't do. As you embrace the risk you must go through. May you grow in strength and heal and find your heart, your soul, and your mind. You look at your life and grin.